Do you ever scroll Instagram and see influencers with zero medical training launching miracle serums while you, with actual clinical expertise, sit on the sidelines wondering why that's not you? Have you ever had a patient ask, "What products do you recommend?" and you secretly wished you could hand them something with your name on it? Are you tired of recommending products to your patients knowing the brand is making all the profit from your clinical credibility? If you said yes to any of those, this episode is for you. Today, we're going behind the scenes of chapter 42 from my newest book, Nursing Aesthetics, an introductory guide for nurse practitioners and entrepreneurs on how to launch your own skincare line. And I'm not just going to read you the chapter, I'm going to tell you the real story, the mistakes, and give you frameworks to evaluate whether you're actually ready to do this. Plus, and this is important, I'm going to share a program that changed everything for so many when it comes to understanding formulation. More on that soon. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Dr. Kimberly Madison, a doctorally prepared nurse practitioner and the founder of the Alliance of Cosmetic Nurse Practitioners, a professional membership for nurse practitioners who specialize in cosmetics and entrepreneurship, who want to build a business on the side or start their own empire. Because what do we know? We know that your first question isn't your last question. And so we're there to provide that ongoing weekly mentorship and coaching. Whether you start off with a weekend course, on-demand training, or some academic program. Because we know when you go to nursing school, there's no skin of color. When you go to that dermatology conference, there's not enough entrepreneurship. When you go to that cosmetic conference, there's nothing about advanced nursing practice. And every day you're showing up as all three. So the alliance is there. The heartbeat is sales, because what is the good of those 10,000 followers if you don't have $10,000? So we're there answering your questions, designing our syllabus based on your needs at this time. So you don't have to go through it alone. You can reduce that imposter syndrome, start to chip away at that sense of overwhelm and burnout, and be in a community that supports you and that believes you, where you can spend all your time and money, which is finite, into building your business, as opposed to explaining your credibility, teaching people about what it means to be a nurse practitioner, or trying to defend why you deserve to be here. So every week we drop new episodes on Tuesdays. I don't know, 10 a.m. Central Time on YouTube and LinkedIn. I just changed the time. And as you can tell, I don't know it yet. I think it's going to stay at 10 a.m. Central Time on YouTube and LinkedIn. And we drop articles for you every week on the Mahogany Dermatology blog. And we have the Mahogany Dermatology Nursing bookstore with a bunch of resources answering the very question that brought you to watch this video. And of course, we have the Alliance, where we have community. That book that we're talking about, you can get your copy in the bookstore, on Amazon, or Barnes & Noble, wherever books are sold. We always start each video, which drops on Tuesdays, with a prayer or devotional. So let's get to it. In Paul, we see an example of what it can look like to cling to faith in Christ. He knew what it meant to be dependent on him for everything. He drew his strength from God, knowing he couldn't do it without him. In our lives, we face moments of doubt, discouragement, and even heartbreak, moments when we want to give up. But let us hold fast to the truth of God's word, knowing that he is faithful to the end. May it be said of us at the end of our lives that we too fought the good fight, finished the race, and kept the faith. Amen. So here are the 5 things we're going to break down for you today. The FDA landscape, what you legally need to know before you launch anything, the cosmetic versus drug distinction, and this is where most of us get messed up. And then, of course, ingredient safety, how to vet what goes into your products, good manufacturing practices, the quality control framework, and the basic cosmetic chemistry, and where to get trained if you need it. Grab a pen, grab your notebook, grab your tablet, because by the end of this episode, you're going to have a 4-part checklist to evaluate your launch readiness. Let's go. So let's start with regulatory stuff. It's not the sexy part, but here's the truth. If you skip this section, you could lose your license, which I know is very, very important for us. So in the United States, cosmetics are regulated under Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. That's the FDA's jurisdiction. Now, here's what trips people up. Unlike cosmeceuticals, cosmetics do not require pre-market approval by the FDA. Let me say that again. You do not need FDA approval to launch a skincare product. Does that mean you can just throw some ingredients in a jar and sell it? Absolutely not. It's your responsibility as the founder, as the MP behind the brand, to ensure your products are safe and compliant with all regulations before you launch. The FDA provides guidelines on 4 key areas: labeling, what you can and cannot say on your package; ingredient safety, what's allowed, what's restricted; color additives, these are the specific rules around dyes and pigments; and then claims. This is the biggest one, and we'll get into that next. Here's what I want you to understand. The FDA isn't going to stop you from launching, but they will come after you if your product harms someone, or if your marketing crosses the line. So the question isn't, can I launch? The question is, am I launching responsibly? So this is where we can get messed up. Let's paint the picture for you. So you create a beautiful moisturizer. All of your friends and family have tried it. They love it. They tell you that they would buy 10 bottles of it. Gorgeous packaging, clean ingredients. You're so proud of it. And on your website, you write, this moisturizer treats eczema and reduces inflammation. Congratulations. You just turned your cosmetic into a drug. And here's the rule. If your product is intended for general use, like hydration, cleansing, beautifying, it's cosmetic. If your product claims to treat, cure, or prevent a condition like eczema, acne, psoriasis, it's a drug. And drugs, they do require FDA approval, clinical trials, years of testing, and millions of dollars. So that one word, treats, just changed your entire regulatory pathway. So I'll give you an example from my chat from inside the book. A moisturizer for general hydration is a cosmetic, whereas a moisturizer that claims to treat eczema, that's a drug. Same product, different claim, completely different legal category. And this is why your marketing language matters. This is why you need to understand this distinction before you write a single caption, before you design a single label. And here's my advice. When in doubt, keep your claims general. Hydrate, nourish, soften, smooth. Those are cosmetic claims in very safe territory. The moment you say treats, heals, cures, or prevents, you're in drug territory. And unless you have FDA approval, you're going to get in trouble. So part 2, checklist. Do you understand the difference between a cosmetic and a drug? Have you reviewed your product claims to ensure they stay in cosmetic territory? And do you have a system for reviewing market language before it goes live? Write those down, and then we'll move into ingredient safety. So you don't need to be a chemist, like we talked about in our most recent video, what it means to be a cosmetic nurse practitioner and cosmetic chemist. You don't need to be a chemist to launch a skincare line, but you do need to understand ingredient safety. This is non-negotiable. And you already understand this, right? So some ingredients that are widely popular are also irritating or contraindicated for certain types. Retinoids, acids, certain essential oils, these are incredibly effective. These can be incredibly effective, or they can cause harm if used incorrectly or in the wrong concentrations. Now, as a nurse practitioner, I'm assuming that you know this, but when we see so many people, especially regular citizens creating products, maybe I don't want to make any assumptions that that you should be checking on this stuff, especially because we do have people coming into nursing from so many different entry points and pathways and backgrounds, without community, without mentorship, navigating this on your own. And so maybe you are taking your cues from what you see on social media. So I just want to be clear, maybe it's not so obvious that these are the kind of things you need to be asking. Okay. I do apologize for that. So as a nurse practitioner, you already have, or you're acquiring, some understanding based on your clinical perspective. We know that what works for one patient doesn't work for everyone. We know about contraindications, and we know about adverse reactions. That same thinking is going to apply to product formulation. So how do you vet your ingredients? 2 resources I want you to bookmark: the Environmental Working Group database. This is a searchable database where you can look up safety profile of almost any cosmetic ingredient, and it rates the ingredients on a scale and flags potential concerns. It's not a biased website, even they get criticism, but it is one that you can use. The Cosmetic Ingredient Review Panel. This is an ingredient expert panel that reviews and assesses the safety of cosmetic ingredients. Their reports are gold, and so far, I haven't heard criticism about them. Now, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't have a critical eye, because everything is made by humans, has room for error, implicit bias, and leaving people out. Before you finalize any formulation, you should be cross-referencing your ingredient list with the resources. And here's the thing. This is where your clinical background becomes your superpower. You understand that human biology. You understand how the skin functions. You understand absorption, sensitization, and irritation. Most cosmetic brand founders don't have that knowledge. You do, and that's where there's a beautiful opportunity for partnership. This becomes your competitive advantage, something you can leverage. I want you to use it. So part 3 this is your next checklist. Have you reviewed each ingredient in your formula for safety? Are you using the EWG database and the CIR panel as references? Do you understand which ingredients are contraindicated for certain skin types or contraindication or conditions? Let's pause real quick. If you're finding this valuable, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. We drop new episodes every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central here on YouTube and LinkedIn, where we break down the business side, giving you frameworks, pathways, answering your questions, hoping motivate you, give you inspiration to show you that this is an opportunity that you can step right into. If you're watching this live, of course, let me know that you're here. Leave a comment, give me a thumbs up. I don't want to be here alone. And I can answer your questions in real time when you join me, especially when I do batch content day. You'll be notified immediately in your email that I'm going live and you can join me. You don't have to wait for me to respond to your email, your DM, or to schedule an appointment. Okay, so what's holding you back though? If you've been thinking about it, I can't imagine none of us haven't at least thought about it. Are you interested in starting your own from scratch, doing some white labeling, partnering with a small brand or a big brand? I really would love to hear your thoughts on this and where kind of get a feel of the market. So let's talk about good manufacturing practices. This is something that surprised a lot of people. These are not legally required for cosmetics. But here's my take. Just because something isn't required doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. And because I feel like I know nurses pretty good, I know you're going to do it. So good manufacturing practices are the FDA's framework for maintaining consistency and quality across batches. They ensure that every jar, every bottle, every tube that leaves your facility meets the same standard. Think about it from a patient's perspective. They buy your serum and they love it. They come back for a refill, but this time the texture is different. The color is off. It doesn't perform the same way. We've all experienced this as a consumer. What happens? We lose trust. We don't come back. People leave comments in our comment section, and we have to do some damage control. Consistency, just like our practice, builds trust, and good manufacturing practices are how you can achieve that consistency. If you're working with a contract manufacturer, which most NPs starting out will do, ask them about their own good manufacturing practices and their compliance. This should be a standard part of your vetting practice. If you can't speak to their quality control processes, that's a red flag if they can't speak to it. Now, here's your next checklist. Does your manufacturer follow good manufacturing practices? Do you have documentation of their quality control processes? Have you established standards for batch consistency? Okay, so we've covered regulations, claims, ingredients, and manufacturing. Now, let's talk about the piece that ties it all together, the cosmetic chemistry. And I hear what some of you are thinking. I'm a nurse practitioner. I'm not a chemist. I can't go back to school for another degree, although you are going back for certifications. And the truth is, you don't have to, but you do need to understand how ingredients interact with the skin, how products are formulated, and how they perform under different conditions. For example, why do some serums separate and others don't? What's the difference between an emulsion and a suspension? Why does pH matter in a vitamin C serum? You don't need to formulate products from scratch, but you do need to be able to have an ingredient conversation with a chemist. You need to understand why they're recommending certain ingredients or processes, which means you need to be able to ask really good, thoughtful, intentional questions. Otherwise, you're just hoping they know what they're doing, and hope is not a strategy. So here's your next list of questions. Can you explain the basic structure of a skincare formulation? Do you understand how different ingredients interact with various skin types? And can you communicate effectively with a cosmetic chemist? Now, I know some of you are thinking, where am I supposed to learn all that? And that is exactly what we're going to go into next. Spelman College has a cosmetic science certification program. It has changed the game for so many people. including nurse practitioners, estheticians, entrepreneurs. And here's the difference. It's designed for working adults. So you don't have to quit your job or move to campus. It's 100% online. There's 4 courses, 2 are required, 2 are elective. Each course is 8 weeks long. It's led by Dr. Leah Winfield, a Black woman chemist who understands both the science and the unique needs of skin of color. And she's not just teaching theory, she's teaching application, execution. It includes a hands-on lab intensive. You're not just reading about formulation, you're actually creating products. Lotions, serums, lipsticks, you're learning by doing. And it connects you to a network of Black women in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, or STEAM, right, where we add the A for the art. The community alone is worth the investment. Everything is community. You're learning alongside other MPs, chemists, and entrepreneurs who are building brands that center around melanated skin. And here's what I love the most about it. The only requirement is a high school diploma. So if you're like that mom who was in the group chat over the beginning of the year asking about your daughter on a pathway for her to get into the cosmetic industry, even though she's in high school, this is perfect for her, right? It's the first thing she can do when she gets out. You don't need a science degree. You don't need prior chemistry knowledge. You just need to be willing to learn. Application is free. The courses are $1,800 each with payment plan options. The next cohort, I think by the time you're seeing this, I can't remember because I'm doing batch content as I watch this and I can't remember, but the application deadline is January 16th, 2026. You can apply at spelman.edu /e-spelman. If you have any questions, you can email espelman@spelman.edu. I'll have this in the description box. If you're serious about launching your own skincare line, this is education that you can consider, not just for credibility, though it can help, but for safety, for your patients, for your confidence, for your brand, and especially for your networking, literally putting you in the room. And listen, I don't get anything from telling you this. I'm not an affiliate. I just know that this program fills the gap that most of us are looking for. So let's bring it all home. Okay, we covered a lot today. Let me give you the quick recap. I gave you the 4-part Launch Readiness Framework that includes regulatory knowledge. Do you understand the FDA landscape and your responsibility as a brand founder? Claims compliance. Do you know the difference between a cosmetic and a drug? And can you keep your marketing in safe territory? Ingredient safety. Have you vetted every ingredient using resources like EWG database or CIR panel? Manufacturing standards. Are you working with a manufacturer that follows good manufacturing practices and can ensure batch consistency? More consistency than I'm getting out. If you checked off all 4 sections, congratulations, you have an A+ launch readiness score. If you're missing 1 or 2, that's okay, but I want you to see those gaps as opportunities, not as obstacles. And if cosmetic chemistry is your gap, you now know exactly where to go. Spelman. Application deadline, January 16th. Don't let another year go by wondering, what if? And one more thing before I go, if you want to dig deeper on this, Chapter 42 is available in my book, Nursing Aesthetics, an Introductory Guide for Nurse Practitioners and Entrepreneurs, which you can find in the Mahogany Dermatology bookstore. That link is below. And if you're ready to stop figuring this out alone, we welcome you to the Alliance of Cosmetic Nurse Practitioners, where we're not here to help you fit in. We're here to help you stand out. So I want to thank you for watching, for asking these questions, right? That's what all this is all about. We're here answering your questions. And I'll see you next Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central here on YouTube and on LinkedIn. I thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.